Well, howdy, friends and neighbors. It's your favorite farmer, Steve, for the long awaited, much anticipated first video of the year. And you ask, Farmer Steve, why did you make us wait so long? Well, uh, I had a lot of changes that I needed to make to the garden, and I promised you premium content. And I didn't want to just show you seedlings growing in some janky little greenhouse, and I didn't want to show you rototilling and things that you've seen so far. If you really miss me playing in the dirt and doing that sort of stuff, go back and watch some of the other videos over the past years. But most of you have seen all of that and you want to see something new and fresh, and I think I've got that for you right now. So that being said, that leaves me more time to complain about the weather. And believe me, I've got a lot to complain about. April and May were all substandard in terms of cold, way above normal in terms of rain. Now, some people in the Kingswood household would say that we had many fine days, and she would be right. We had fine days, a day, and then followed by 3 days of rain, and then cold, and some snow. We had snowflakes flying on May 2nd. Didn't stick, but it was cold. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't work. And you'll see a little bit later on, we still have a mud hole that I can't do anything with down there. So that being said, let's take the initiative and you can see, um, you know, well, what's been done and maybe some suggestions on what could be done. Okay, well, we'll start over here in the herb garden because, it's kind of the standard stuff, and just a couple quick things. Garlic is doing its garlic thing, and we harvested for the first time the horseradish, which was absolutely delicious. And the horseradish plant was right about here, and I dug it out, and you can see there's plenty of it that you couldn't get out of the ground that is growing back. Now, what I don't know is, can I harvest this year, or do I have to wait 2 years like before? I don't know. We'll have to ask the subject matter expert in Central Illinois. There's a couple leeks from a couple years ago that failed, but they might be good enough this year. And I've got a little bit of dill planted there for the appropriate time. So we won't be seeing much of this the rest of the year. Now, this is one of the major new additions, and it doesn't look like much here, but my compost pile is in a bad spot, and I have way more leaves and grass than I do room to put it. So I took this basically worthless area and I started piling up leaves. This is going to turn into good mulch and fertilizer. And one of the surprises this year, blueberry plants. Yes, I got 2 blueberry plants, one there and one there. Now, these are only supposed to get yay tall, so they're not the big guys that are down, some people grow. So they should stay compact. I've got them staked off so that the deer can't get at them. I don't know if the deer get them or not, but they get everything else, so why not? Asparagus patch is doing its asparagus stuff. We've had several cuttings, and there are more to cut right now. But this is, kind of typical. You're going to cut 8 to 10 stalks at a time, and they grow fast. Now, one of the things that I noticed, you see a lot of spots where there's none. Some of it's because it's just been cut and it hasn't grown back yet. But the purple guys do better in our climate or in this bed rather than the green guys. So the green is the Jersey Night, and the purple, I don't know what it is, but that grows fast and big, and it's really good. Now, here's our first shout out to my spiritual garden advisor, Brian, who graciously offered, and I immediately accepted the offer to start a lot of my seedlings, because he's set up for just massive amounts of seeds, and he's got the perfect situation in his basement, grow lights, watering, all kinds of shelves. And he started these like early March. And so these are all the pepper plants. There's even some overflow. Your standard green chilies, a couple jalapenos, lots of shishitos, and also he did the Brussels sprouts. He did the tomatoes, which you're going to see in a minute. So this was, just a tremendous help. What a big head start. So I've got these things ready to go. Hopefully this year I've learned a little bit about the Brussels sprouts. They grow very tall. They'll probably get over the stakes. I've got the stakes ready for them to tie off to and start harvesting them before they, the Brussels sprouts actually open up and become no good, which I made a bad mistake last year. So anyway, a lot of what you see here, and it will see over in the other bed, is due to Brian. All right, some of those with the keen power of observation will notice that I have netting up to try to keep the cabbage lopers off of the Brussels sprouts. Cabbage lopers are a little small butterfly. They're only about that big. They're white, and they land on the Brussels sprouts, lay their eggs, and the larvae just eat the living daylights out of them. So with the idea that maybe they can't get through this, I don't know, I hope not, that will certainly help. But on a down note, we did have a couple tragic deaths in the family over the winter. And these are the pawpaw trees that were carefully planted and nurtured and staked off so they couldn't be nibbled on by you-know-who. And they absolutely did not answer the bell. And I'm blaming it on the severe Ohio winter that we had. They certainly looked healthy last fall, but they didn't make it. And even more tragically, one of our East Coast viewers bought pawpaws, saved the seeds, sent them to me. I overwintered them in the fridge, as you're supposed to do. I brought them out and was going to plant them the next day, and a mouse had eaten a hole in the bag, taken all of the seeds, and I thought eaten them. But as it turned out, I found them a month later, shoved underneath the foot of my drill press, and I planted them, but they absolutely will not germinate. They dried out too much, so there will be no pawpaws this year. Now, so why are you showing us this tree? Well, this is a bald cypress, and one of the things that I found was really interesting. You see these things here? These are called knees, and in very wet conditions, with it, which this certainly is, you can maybe hear my feet squishing underneath. They will actually, as part of the root system, these grow up out of the grounds, and the botanists don't know really why. They speculate it's because they're trying to exchange a little bit more air. They won't grow into other trees. It's just part of the bald cypress experience. Now on to the main event. And we have made quite a few changes over here. Took a lot of work, and this is why I didn't really make a video before this was ready to show you, because trying to explain it would be difficult. Anyway, so the tomatoes, as you see, we'll get a closer look, are over here. They used to be over here. There's too much of the fungus that attacks tomatoes in this ground, and the results have been getting poorer and poorer as the years go on, so they need to be moved. Hence I move them over here. Well, what are you going to do over here? This is the salad section, and what we've got going is some Swiss chard and some of the candy striped beets. I forget what the exact name is, but they are starting to sprout. And down here I've got some kale that is it's starting to come up. Everything is just starting to come up, and I put a net over it to try to keep some of the insects off so that they wouldn't feast on these guys. So we'll see how it goes. So far it's held up to the weather. We haven't had any tremendously severe storms, but so far so good. Now, here are some of these tomato plants that Brian grew, and you can see they are just, look at them. I mean, you'd pay $10 a piece for these in the store. This is about how big they were when I put them in a week ago, and they've only been in about a week, and they are really off to a great start. Now I know I need to trim up the bottom leaves, but I'm just letting it establish first. And then the cucumbers up here ready to go. And beans, the farmer's wife asked that we have fewer beans this year, so I obliged, planted not so many. And the obligatory different types of squash, many of them contributed by the East Coast fans. Now, here's one of our other significant surprises. These little guys right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are watermelon, and they are trellis climbing melon. So you can see I have spent a good solid $30 on building the best trellis you could build for $30 out of some EMT electrical pipe, leftover fence, and a couple of pieces of wood. So do I know if that's enough? I have no idea if that's going to support them. We will see. I got 5 chances here to grow little watermelons that will hang down and hopefully get enough sun. This is the sunniest part of the garden. It gets sun here most of the time. Now over here is the last remaining piece of the puzzle that is not ready to go yet. This is where the Barbie pink popcorn will go, and it's going to have to go in soon. But right now, with all of the rain, and believe me, we've had a lot of rain, and it all coming down off of this hill, this is where it sits. And this is some boot-sucking mud right here. And so planting anything in this right now is just a fool's errand, and we're not going to do it. We're going to let it dry out. It says the next few days going to be dry. Maybe I can get the soil worked and get the popcorn planted. So I've dug some, I guess you could just call them trenches there, to try to let some of the water drain into that, plant the corn on top of it after this is worked a little bit, and see, hopefully it'll grow. Well, we got nothing to lose. Hopefully not another year of disappointment. And that's about it. But you can see this took more time to figure out how I was going to do all of this and actually execute it than what you might think, because I'm not as quick as I was. Anyway, that is the tour. Well, bonus footage. Here's the red buckeye tree in full bloom. The hummingbirds just love this. I really like this bush becoming a tree, hopefully. And some wild iris that I've kind of cultivated into one spot. Another little red buckeye tree that I started, a third one, some more iris. And those are some dianthus that were discarded by the other gardener in the household. Okay, folks, that's it. That's the initial tour of the garden, 2026, and I hope you enjoyed it. And there'll be, hopefully some worthwhile footage, especially the massive potential blueberry harvest. Probably get a half a dozen berries this year. Potentially the trellis climbing watermelon, that would be worthwhile seeing, I think. See how the tomatoes do over in their fungus-free home. Hopefully the Barbie pink popcorn will make it up this year. Didn't even germinate last year, just rotted. And then, several kinds of new squash and several kinds of new salad things, hopefully protected from the insects. And with that, I will bid you a good month, end of May. We are at the end of May, and we'll see you in June. Take care.